Hello, are you a parent with a child who's struggling in mathematics? Are you a teacher who's disheartened because you have so many children who cannot access the math because they're 2 or 3 years below grade level standards? You're not alone. Over 60% of American children are not proficient in mathematics. There's a plethora of reasons why. Parents are working their tails off just to make ends meet, and students are inundated with social media and they're losing their focus in school and their perseverance to attain all the knowledge they need to learn in school. Because of these gaps in understanding, children are stuck far below basic. But there is good news. The Teacher's Dungeon is a math intervention program that helps kids bridge their gap in understanding and become proficient in mathematics. I'm going to show you 4 simple strategies that can help you teach your kids how to become proficient in mathematics. The Teacher's Dungeon does have a game aspect to it. Kids earn crystals. They use those crystals to save creatures from the dungeon, build their castle, and work their way to top-ranking royalty. However, this game is all about kids learning mathematics. The Teacher's Dungeon has standards-based questions. Each question is linked to a video tutorial that teach time-proven strategies for understanding the math. On top of that, I've got the stats page and 46 math books that teach time-proven strategies for understanding the math. Okay, on to the 4 strategies that ensure your children will be successful in math. Step number 1, let your children play the Teacher's Dungeon and access the immediate help through video tutorials. Step number 2, encourage your children to take super good notes each and every time they get a video tutorial. And then study those notes, paying close attention to the key concepts, the strategies I teach in those videos. Step number 3, use the stats page, not only to motivate your children, but also to strategically target your lesson. Let's talk about motivating your children. I meet with my students every single week and talk about the stats page and their progress going through it. Now, the green colored boxes represent standards that the child is proficient in. The yellow colored boxes represent standards that the child needs a little more help in. Now, the gameplay logic will bring the child back to these questions again and again, all the while offering video tutorials until that child is proficient and that standard box turns green. Love it. Each time a child gets a new green colored box or a new yellow colored box, I give them a lot of praise to help build their self-confidence in mathematics. On to strategically targeting my lessons. If I notice that a child is struggling in, say, adding and subtracting, or multiplication, or perhaps division, or fractions, I can use the stats page, first of all, to recognize that, and secondly, to plug them into the math books, which will meet the student's needs at their level of ability. And finally, step number 4, the math books. Now, I have math books on adding and subtracting, multiplication, geometry, negative numbers, division, fractions, ratios and proportions, and algebra. Each one of these books start at a very basic level and spirals up in difficulty, so you can start your child at the beginning book, book number 1, and work your way up, ensuring that they'll understand the concepts as they go from book to book. Now, as you know, I not only created the Teacher's Dungeon, but I also use it in my classroom every single day. I recently gave an exam on decimal operations, which included adding and subtracting with decimals, multiplying with decimals, and dividing with decimals. I had a number of kids that were proficient. I had a number of kids that needed help with adding and subtracting, a number of kids that needed help with multiplication, and a number of kids that needed help with division. I differentiated my classroom accordingly, plugging some kids into the addition and subtraction booklet, plugging other kids into the multiplication booklet, and others into the division booklets. My students worked their way through these booklets, spiraling up in difficulty until all of them were proficient and passed the exam. It was incredible to watch my students progress so wonderfully and heartwarming as a teacher. So that, my friends, is your 4 strategies for ensuring that your children become proficient in mathematics. You can try the Teacher's Dungeon for free, and if you're a teacher, you can get it for free because there's specialized funding for intervention programs like the Teacher's Dungeon.